But a lot of folks are so also caught up in like the cinema and the movie of life that they're not realizing that these things are happening in real life, right? It's not that people are dumb, it's that people think they're smart. That's the real problem.
It's Amanda. She's back.
Oh, we're starting?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're here.
I remember you left. For the same reasons I'm happy that you're back. Because all of my friends left New York. Just a bunch of people divorced New York and hightailed it to LA.
I feel like it was time.
It was. Well, also I think Hollywood realized that they... Of course, it's always an afterthought when it comes to black people and money. When they realize that we make money, for them is when they usher us in.
It was also, though, like that was when web series had started booming.
Yeah.
There was, when I moved to LA, they were still sourcing original work. You know, now it's not like that. It has to have been a book first or a podcast first or something like some type of original IP. And it's not a land of curiosity. It's so driven by these corporate.
Ever?
Well, I think there were moments.
Moments, yeah.
There were moments and regime changes that allow for that. But and I had to come back because I had to come back when I was promoting my one-woman show, What Would the Ancestors Say?
Yeah.
And it just felt like, if you have to go visit family and you're like, oh my God, when do I get to leave? Like, I know I have to be here, but I gotta go. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, please get me out of here with these people.
Right.
Also, if I'm just keeping it a buck, I'm too advanced for some of y'all. I'm just too advanced. And like, you in the space, and I realize now that I've left the space, like, me being in the space makes y'all think that we on the same level. And a lot of y'all haven't read the same amount as me. You haven't been in the same trenches as me. You haven't talked to the same people as me.
But you
haven't studied. I'm not done. You haven't made the same art as me. You haven't studied. You haven't watched the same documentaries. Like, you haven't even done the same level of self-exploration, but you want to go toe to toe.
Did you know that before going to Hollywood?
No.
Or did you know that when you got there?
I didn't even know that until recently. Like, I just because you
I could have told you that.
Many people have told me it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
Because I've always been existing in this kind of like, don't be too much. Because I'm always, my whole life, that's all I've been told is that you're too much.
Right.
You're too much, you're too much, you're too much. So it's this work to try to fit in. And even the internet was me trying to fit in. We're not on the same. And it's taken me a long time to admit that to myself and to say it out loud. I'm special.
You are. And so I had a, it's not a question, but it's an observation more than a question.
Received.
And I want to get your take on my observation.
Yeah.
The objective for this country and what they did to its citizens was to keep them dumb.
Yes.
And most Americans are dumb, and not by any choice of their own. Mm-hmm. I thought the lot of blowback that you got and that other people get goes over most people's heads. And it pained me to see you even responding to negative comments. But that's much different than a whole group or media platform like Essence, the Griot, that are supposed to be in our community and have that same insight.
You know what it is though? It's not about. Now what we're seeing is it's one thing to be intellectual. It's another thing to have integrity.
Sure.
And it's also one thing to be smart, and it's another thing to be intellectual.
Sure.
People have knowledge, but they don't have synthesis.
Right.
A lot of folks are just repeating what they know and making it clear, like, no, I know this. Right. You said this, but this is this. But are you synthesizing new ideas? Are you considering new pathways?
Right. So that, I guess that's my point of view as it comes to this election, right? And I don't know It's almost impossible for me to stay away from the election because I don't know when this is going to air.
Well, it's a time capsule then.
Yeah. And so Kamala Harris, Trump, or the Green Party. And whoever the Green Party is.
Jill Stein.
Right. I think maybe a lot of pushback that you got, and people like Cornel West, it's like, what, you taking votes away from Kamala? And so I say that because people are very one-dimensional in this country, and they don't. And I too am a guy who thinks very like this, and I've been taught to think a little more critical and understanding. I remember during COVID, I think listening to you and Angela Rye, I learned a lot about what it meant to what your vote was. But I wonder at the 11th hour, how do you speak to people and have them make educated decisions, dumb people, Americans, to understand that? Because that intellect can go over our heads. Because
I didn't bank on so many other people that I thought were intellectuals. I didn't bank on them operating as, how do I say this in the kindest way possible? I didn't bank on them being so fooled by the same tactics.
Yeah.
And so, because like you just talked about in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest mistakes I think we make around these elections.
And there wasn't an election around then. There was more of the George Floyd thing, and then we were working.
No, but there was a big old election.
Yes.
And there was a very big push during that election of like, we have to vote for Joe Biden or else.
Yeah.
And I was sucked completely into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surrounded by a lot of black women who are considered very intellectual, mm-hmm. and who are not even considered, who are, they're smart, they're intellectual, I would say, but they are very supportive of the establishment.
Yeah.
They believe in the structure. And I've never, even before I knew the facts, my soul did not believe in the structure. And it took... Sure. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it took me time to catch up with the facts.
Absolutely. No.
To understand.
Because that's the underlying problem.
Yeah, like my soul and my spirit know the system is some bullshit. Yeah. So...
the whole thing.
No, literally the entire thing.
Yeah.
And the error, to me, the fatal error that we continue to make is that we keep judging the new election by the last election, as if these powers that be don't become sophisticated more and more over every 4 years.
Well, I don't think anybody could have predicted Palestine and genocide.
You don't?
No, absolutely. When I say keep them dumb,
who's anybody?
I think when I say keep Americans dumb, I don't think most governments didn't foresee.
Palestinians did.
Through social media exactly what American foreign policy was.
Okay, so that is the thing.
Yeah.
That the fatal error that Israel and America made was that they didn't realize that so much information would be able to be disseminated at such a rapid rate. And the biggest and in my opinion, the misstep that they made was that they didn't realize that the young people are really the fact finders. Like they've always been, right? Mm-hmm, like in every movement, they've always been. Right. So they thought, oh, well, if we just tell you this is too complicated, you can't figure this out, then you'll shut up. Whereas teenagers and young people in college, they're like, if you tell me it's too complicated and I can't figure it out, that's all the ammunition I need to absolutely go and learn everything about this shit, and then tell everyone I know. And so they didn't bank on that.
No, they did not.
I think a lot of people...
You said that way more eloquently than I did. Thank
but
you.
A lot of folks are so also caught up in like the cinema and the movie of life that they're not realizing that these things are happening in real life, right? There's an actual empire, there's an imperialist empire that is America, and They make mistakes too. There's also human beings that are running these empires that somehow people seem to think are better than like you and your mama, you know, in terms of ethics or morals.
They have an agenda.
They have to.
Yeah.
But this is the bottom line though, is not that people are dumb, it's that people think they're smart. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
The real issue is that American exceptionalism has tricked Americans into thinking they're smart.
A motherfucker will not admit what they don't know. That is the smartest thing you could do, is admit what you don't know. And it's awful. It's
awful. And they will go and die on the hill
right.
for some shit that they don't know. Like I had some lady cursing me out in a comment section today because it had been, someone posted, Niecy Nash posted this article about how slavery is on the ballot in Nevada and California. Slavery is on the ballot, meaning that within their state constitutions, there's an exception for slavery for if you are incarcerated. Well, this is in our American United States Constitution as the 13th Amendment.
Right.
I mean, Michelle Alexander has a whole book about this.
Right.
And Ava DuVernay did an entire documentary called 13
right.
about how the 13th Amendment says that slavery is abolished unless you are incarcerated. That's what it says. So
does it really?
Yes. Slavery is legal. If you are incarcerated, slavery is legal. Yes. Yes.
That's why my friend has been on death row for 30 years and just got off.
On federal level. Mm-hmm. There's it doesn't take a lot of like searching once you begin to start putting the pieces together, and you're like, oh, that's why our incarceration rates are so exceptionally high. Right. They've continued to keep us in the labor force.
Why presidents don't read.
This is the thing I want to get out though, is that I responded to that post and I said, this is also within our Constitution as the 13th Amendment. And someone replied back to me and said, and yet you out here saying that we shouldn't vote for Kamala Harris, and so this is because of you, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it was so fascinatingly ignorant to me, because what this person is they feel really compelled. Like she felt emboldened, not realizing, ma'am, Kamala Harris calls herself the top cop. Kamala Harris is in complete support of the penal system and how it operates federally and within the state of California. Kamala Harris and many Democrats have no problem with cop cities being built in all of these different states.
You don't think she has a problem with Cop City?
Has she said that she has a problem?
We don't know that.
Well, if you're running for office...
When I say that...
I think it's odd that because she is a black woman, people have decided to have an incredible amount of deference for her, even though she is in a space that has very, very little breathing room for the type of deference that people are talking about. It's like if someone's a cop and they go work for the police department, you immediately are going to change your level of deference because you're like, well, you now in the belly of the beast, so I can't have the same kind of benefit of the doubt for you because you're surrounded by a system that's bigger than you. And it's a lot harder for you to be moving independently in your morals and ethics when the entire system that you're a part of is bigger than that. That is the political system. But for some odd reason, people are like, no, but Kamala. And they really expect that she is going to be willing to somehow do all of this progressive stuff that she has actively said that she's against. Let me just tell you this. When you say, well, she hasn't said she's not against, she hasn't said she's against or for Cop City. I will tell you this. She has said undeniably that she supports Israel, that she will not waver from supporting Israel, and that it is imperative that we support Israel. She has also very much supported the suppression of students and their First Amendment rights on campuses who are challenging their colleges to divest from Israel. She has also many times said that she supports cops. She supports the police. She supports the Biden plan, and Biden has always put bunches of money towards police funding. So even if you, and you may be like, well, what does the Israel thing have to do with it? These cop cities are fashioned based on,
of course,
the IOF and the way Israel suppresses Palestinians. So all of this is, it's like, even if I say I don't like you, but every time you invite me to a party, I don't come. And every time I see you, I give you a half-ass hello. And every time, you know, you ask me about doing something together, I pass. I don't have to say I don't like you.
Right.
You can infer confidently, even if it's not 100%, you can do a 75%. Like, I mean, she didn't say she don't like me, but she act like it. So I'll say that about Kamala Harris. She hasn't said she doesn't support Cop City, but she acts like it. Every 4 years, the same Democrats that you're supporting wait till the 11th hour. You're talking about what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not running for office. Project 2025 is not new, but you didn't hear about it from the Democrats until the 11th hour. I've been talking about Project 2025 since last year. Mm-hmm. You didn't hear about Project 2025 from the Democrats until 6 months ago.
Right.
And the problem is that for some odd reason, folks are still believing that Democrats are not politicians. This is a political game. It's a framework. If you want it to change, then you need to get people in there who are willing to disrupt the framework, which may also disrupt their world. And as somebody who knew when I stood for Palestine that it would disrupt my world, it did. I've had to shift my entire existence in order to simply just stand against genocide, right?
Yeah.
And I'm proud that has not been, there was never a question. Like, I never had to negotiate that with myself.
Right.
We don't have, so then you'll have people who will say, well, I feel like this is something that you probably think. You're like, Amanda, well, how do we change things if we don't put people on the inside?
Yeah.
If we don't put revolutionaries on the inside, you will never see something change. You know, folks who are about working within the system.
Yeah.
And they have the best of intentions, I believe. But ultimately, what ends up happening so often is that they don't have other people that can take their spot. And so when they get in these positions, it's like they have to stay for the work to continue. The only way you can have actual real change is if people are willing to come in. When you see activists who go into these events and will raise hell, they know that they'll never get to come to that event again.
Right.
They know that. But we got to chip away. Mm-hmm. We can't chip away if when you come and get the chisel, you like, actually, let me... And yet we keep acting as if there's advancements made. And my point with Trump, the reason why I keep saying like it's not about Trump, even though people are like, it's absolutely about Trump. There's a bigger force at work when our only options are Donald Trump and someone we didn't even choose.
Right.
This is not a democracy, it's a company. Just like, I don't know, like, you know, certain brands will like find something and they're like, ooh, we changing our brand, we about to do this now. That's what America did after World War II. America changed brands and was like, we're going to be a war, like we're going to be a part of the war industry. Like that's what we're going to do. The last like 7, I think it is, heads of State Department of Defense, the heads of the Department of Defense, the last 7 of them, to my knowledge, have all been CEOs of weapons manufacturers. That's not by accident. The seat of the empire is not a place of honor. Yeah. And we have been tricked into thinking it is.
Definitely.
If you look at all of the presidents, you maybe got Jimmy Carter in there.
Right.
But for them, and maybe FDR, but for the most part, everyone who has been in these seats has blood on their hands. Yeah. For the sake of upholding, quote unquote, American imperialism. Mm-hmm. So to take that seat and everybody gets tricked into thinking that this is some great accomplishment.
Yeah, because she's not going to change American foreign policy.
She's made it abundantly clear she's not going to do that. She has no desire to do that, and she also does not have the power.
So can I ask you, I have another question. What has been your method of healing and self-care?
Lexapro. Yeah, antidepressants. I had to get on antidepressants because my soul is not made for this dimension we're in. we've gone into like a whole other realm of like toxicity as like a cultural existence. I'm not made for that.
I think I was happy that you talked about being on the spectrum, because I think a lot of us are on the spectrum.
We have a heart connection, and I feel like I have that with all the.
I have a very difficult time
existing. Same.
Besides my relationship with Jesus and the hope and the joy that he gives me, but has nothing to do with the place that I live in.
And I would say that I don't have that in Jesus, but I have that in nature. Like I have that in understanding that there's something that I don't know what it is, but I know it's in me.
Yeah.
And I know it's in us. It's just that we've been tricked out of our magic.
Yeah. But you can choose, and I didn't know that you could choose joy and hope, which is much different than saying it. We are all caught up in this thing that is.
It's a matrix. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And the internet is far more insidious than people admit.
I'm definitely here for a purpose.
Absolutely.
And I have to believe that. And if not, how tragic.
But I think sometimes we also really, like sometimes the purpose is that you just needed to be here.
Yeah.
In our Western way, purpose has to be attached to productivity. So often, purpose has to be attached to some type of some type of outcome. I will never forget my friend Joy. She's a lawyer. She's a big time lawyer. And I said to Joy, Joy, if you wasn't a lawyer, what would you be doing? Because she really didn't like law. Yeah. But she just was good at it. So she was like, this is what I do. I said, Joy, if you wasn't a lawyer, what would you be doing? I'm thinking she's about to say, like, I would be painting, I would be doing cupcake manufacturing, like I would be braiding hair. She said, chilling. And I was like, that's what you'd be doing?
Yeah, never lie.
She was like, yeah, I would be doing nothing.
I discovered that during COVID. I couldn't have been happier.
When my mom retired, I was like, I just feel like you're going to get like restless. I feel like you're going to get, just like very bored, so do you have a plan? And she was like, I will not get bored or restless.
At all.
But I was under the impression that because this woman had worked so much that's all she knew how to do. And you hear that narrative all the time, like where people like they work so much that they get home and now they feel like they need to be useful.
Hell no.
She was like, I'm useful in the garden. I'm useful at the matinees that I go to by myself, where I'm the only one there.
Yeah, I don't like the type of work that we do or have to do. I don't think that there's this clear pathway to help other people. But that's why you do have to find it in what you do, and I found it helping people to love themselves, their hair, and all that stuff. And there's a bigger purpose that has nothing to do with hair for me.
So I live in the trees now, so I'm really deep.
I know, and I love. Yeah. And thank you for the work that you do, and how you entertain us in a real thought-provoking, smart way. It is much appreciated because there is no one like you.
Thank you.
No one, and with that much conviction.
For sure.
No one in entertainment. I mean, there was George Carlin.
He's a white man. He could be convicted.
Yeah.
He can have conviction. He has less to lose. I mean, I am light skinned. I mean, I think that there's just.
Why is it that light skinned people are the loudest? Light skinned black people are the loudest?
They say we're trying to prove our blackness.
At all.
I have a joke that when I'm doing stand up and I say, light skinned people are fighting massa from the inside out. So that's why we loud. Cause like when I get sunburned, I'm just like, God damn it, massa! But I think that there's also just, I know my genealogy. I know where this light skin comes from me. But which brings me back to what I was gonna say, which is, I joke about it and I say, I live in the trees now, so I'm deeper. But it's true. Like, I've really come to respect my soul. And I never respected my soul. I respected my mind.
Yeah.
But I didn't really respect my soul like that. And it wasn't until...
when did you discover your soul?
Tabitha Brown had come on my show, and she was talking about how she had this conversation with God, and she committed herself to being obedient to God. And it was like, that's her journey, but that's in me somewhere. But I didn't know what that version is for me, because Tabitha's like very Christian.
Yeah.
I'm not. So I was like kind of just trying to figure out.
Those are the real fucked up things about the term Christianity, Jesus, and God, because somebody thinks it's a person, and or there's an identity of something or someone, and it's not. It's spirit.
Yes. I mean, and that's ultimately what
And God is hope, and God is love, and
all the things.
All the things. And if you commit yourself to the love of God in you.
Well, that's the part right there, the in you.
Yeah, because they don't talk about that.
No.
They don't talk about that part.
That's the part.
Yeah.
It's the in you.
It is
so
the in you.
I had to start listening closer.
Yeah.
To the God in me, and it was Palestine that woke me up. Palestine woke me up to the God in me.
And you have to commit yourself to, because your spirit is as much a part of you sitting here as your mind. It is, and you're just this.
It powers
just
your
a
mind.
vessel. Yes,
you're a vessel. So your mind is AI.
Yeah.
I mean, your mind is literally electricity. It's AI. So your soul is what they put in. You know, like Data had on Star Trek. He was a vessel, but then they had to put like an actual program in him to be Data.
Did you? I mean, this might sound crazy, but so when I really got into meditating, and I would be paying attention to the thoughts that were going on in my head, and also the meditative part that's trying to happen at the same time, and that they're not separate, your body and your mind, and so on and so forth. And I came out of a meditation, or before I came out of it, and I was just like, oh my God, like I can do two things at the same time. Mm-hmm. I can have thoughts, and my brain is also trying to go inward to something. Mm-hmm. That has nothing to do with the physical. It had nothing to do with the physical me, the Dickey, it was just there were these two things that were happening at the same time. And people don't slow down enough. But I'm so happy that you live in the trees now. I can shake your tree.
You can shake my tree. No, you're gonna love my house too. It's like the whole house is an art piece.
Why haven't I been there yet?
It's not time.
And it's not time. Okay. Are you gonna have a housewarming?
Yes, but a lot of people won't be invited that probably thought they were.
Well, what?
Well, a lot of people will not be invited that probably thought they would be.
Oh, yeah.
That's more for me.
That's
like
for
me.
you.
That's for me realizing like, a lot of people I thought I would have invited, I'm not going to invite. Because I've been here for 2 months, and people have known I'm here.
Right.
And honey, the phone is quiet.
Right.
And that let me know, okay.
Well, I also know you're busy, and I'm going some things that I didn't know I would do or could do.
I mean, I think there's something to be said for like, you get to a certain point where like you still got to tap in. Like, you good? I'm good.
Did you divorce Hollywood? Mm-hmm. You did.
I call it divesting from celebrity.
Is Hollywood necessary for the work that you do?
No, not for the work that I do now. Mm. You know, we all go through phases, hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Right? Of evolution, of awakening and whatnot. And in talking, like, so what I was saying about like me having to find my soul and be able to be obedient to the God in me.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't be obedient to the God in me and stay in Hollywood.
Yeah, that seems clear to me.
Also, for what it's worth,
necessary.
it was also just like you said, like it's like it was impractical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not aspiring to the things that Hollywood offers. Like, I don't aspire to fame. I don't aspire to wealth. I don't want to have to I don't aspire to have my own TV show. At one point in time, these were all things that felt like that's the par for the course.
Yeah.
Honestly, I at this point aspire to simply preserve the space around me enough to be able to be a vessel to create art that inspires people.
Yeah. Will I get some of that in
what you mean?
Show?
Oh my God. I mean, what would the ancestors say is really it's really the like Voltron of like all these years of
Yeah.
learning synthesizing into what I feel like I'm probably going to be doing for like the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Which is
And quite necessary.
edutaining.
Yeah.
In a very deliberate, like I feel like the spoonful of sugar for the most of my work has been like a lot more sugar. Whereas now it's like, I'm going to give you a couple grains, but this is real medicine.
Yeah, no, I knew you were more than that.
I mean, it's just, I feel like I'm really in touch.
Because that's all I liked about you. I know I did. I just thought that what you took in education and knowledge, and that was your work. And I was like, damn, that is.
But I lost sight of that.
I mean, you're Hollywood.
Yeah.
Fuck you up.
And the internet.
Yeah.
I lost sight of it. Like I lost sight of. So there was a moment where I realized this. I took a flight in August of 2023. And I happened to watch this masterclass series on the flight called Black Freedom, Black History, Black Love, something like that.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
And it had like Sherilyn Eiffel and Nicole Hannah-Jones and Professor Kimberly Crenshaw.
I turn that one on
and
if there's someone around me that I'm really not liking, and they don't think that I'm like click.
Click. By the time I got off that plane, I was a different person.
Right.
I realized first, like, hold on. How do I not know about all of this?
Right.
Like, there's like gaping wide holes in my scholarship. But two, I realized I had stopped actively learning, intentionally learning. Because what the internet does is you start doing passive learning.
Yeah.
So, like, you happen upon things, and you may retain that, you may not, whatever. That's very different than intentional learning for the purpose of retention.
Yeah.
And that's what an intellectual does.
Yeah.
And I stopped doing that. So that was like, okay, I need to get back to this. And then October 7th happened, and it was imperative that I very, very quickly gain the scholarship to match what my soul knows. I knew on October 8th, this is going to be a genocide.
Yeah.
And people were like, how dare you? Oh my gosh, you're being alarmist. I was like, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about this.
And you're really not wrong right now.
It is deplorable what we're witnessing. We're watching Anne Frank's diary on IG. And I knew that people were going to come to me about this, because I also, even though people may hate me, they do know that I'd be standing on shit.
Yeah.
So even if they hate me, they're going to try and see, well, can I move you on this?
Right.
And I was like, I got to get really knowledgeable really fast. And I had to just dive in and read, like, you know, Rashid Khalidi's like 100 Years War in Palestine. And I had to read about the Israeli lobby. And I had to talk to Mark Lamont Hill. And I was very fortunate that there was so many, like, intellects in this space that already respected my integrity. So they were willing to, like, school me up.
Cool.
And I started doing this thing. I don't do it anymore just because I didn't have the bandwidth, but I started doing this thing on my YouTube called The Common Sense Kickback. And I would find folks on these Instagrams that was really talking about shit and have them come on and have like a real conversation where it's like me and you, like where I would literally just sit back and let them school me, please.
Yeah.
School me about how this time is similar to the Vietnam anti-war effort. Then you realize...
That's why I was following you in those interviews to gain some myself, and no, you fell back, and I was like, she gonna go through some stuff.
No, I fell back on that just because time.
When I say fall back, you fell back on the person schooling you, like you were really getting a lot from it, and
because you know that you don't know, so learn,
say what you don't know, exactly,
or
listen and learn.
Like when I was on Mehdi Hassan's podcast, like I made a point of saying, like, you know more about this than me, so I want to ask a question. And even though like even though I still had like my thoughts about it, it's like I know I'm asking a learned person. My boy Brandon Victor Dixon is one of the smartest human beings I know, And also one of the most intellectual, because he takes what he knows and he synthesizes it. And I will never forget him saying to me, Biden is just as bad as Trump. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then I watched Biden actively commit a genocide. Yeah. And I just never would have thought this old man had it in him.
Well, I just think it's too easy, to your point, to just take it all in the system and think that that's just what it is. Like, I don't know.
But we do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like when we started this interview, that's what you said. Like, well, what can she do?
Right.
Why the fuck are you going if you can't do nothing? What use are you to us? That's what a white man would do. What is the point of you being there if you can't do nothing? Why are we so pressed?
Well, because folks are trying to get elected.
No, I'm saying to the people who are like, well, she can't do anything.
Right.
What is the value of someone getting elected who can't do anything? Why are we so pressed?
Burn it down.
When we love to talk about, we love to invoke our ancestors.
Right.
And then actively do with shit that they would not have done.
Right.
We love to talk about the 60s and how people died to vote. Our people died to vote. Well, let me tell you something. When we were not allowed to be in political office and we finally had the ability, or not ability, we were finally given access to do so. The black people that were going into office were going in as a revolutionary act. Just them being there was a revolutionary act. Here we are in 2024. And if simply just being at the table is still considered a revolutionary act, that should be your indication that we have a lot more revolution work to do.
Yeah, too much time went by and nothing happened.
But they think something happened.
Nothing happened.
You have a shop. I have an independent career. And people will consider those to be sites that something happened.
Nah.
Let me tell you something. Black people have always been successful.
Yeah.
There have always been folks that have been able to fit through the cracks. And I do not consider me finding my way through one of the fissures of capitalism to be a significant site of success. I've had to be perfect in order to do so. Mm-hmm. I've had to be perfect. I also had to fit certain optics, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm skinny, I'm light skinned, I'm considered attractive by certain people, or like whatever. I talk white. That's the thing, right? Oh, she talks white. You know, I went to these institutions. I graduated from Columbia for grad school. Like I like all of these things. It shouldn't require all of these things,
right?
For me to be successful. It shouldn't. That's your indicator.
Well, you've been the perfect co-host.
Oh my God. Have I?
Yes, you have.
Because you know I'm a perfectionist because I didn't have a father.
Thank you, and then coming in as an engineer too.
Hold for sound.
Hold for sound. Thank you, and I'm glad you're back here and you found a really nice tree house. I'll come shake your tree.
I love you so much.
I'm going to Kenya next week.
I love you so much.
I love you back.
Thank you.
I do.
What are you doing in Kenya?
Friend's 60th.
Ooh, fancy friends.
Yeah.
Where in Kenya?
I've not looked at the itinerary. I have, but I have no interest in doing anything except going there and enjoying my friend.
Well, Hakuna Matata to you.
Yeah.
They actually do say that. That's not racist.
Oh, okay.
That's not me being American. They actually sell shirts that say Hakuna Matata, Kenya.
And I'm low-key disappointed that I can't do your hair because you've got these locks, but they're beautiful.
Thank you.
I can find something to do with them.
Yes, you can.
All right?
Yes.
Put an earring in it. Yeah.
There's one in here somewhere.
Oh, maybe. Look on the other side.
I mean...
Psych. But I'll see you in the chair soon.
I mean, I would be in the chair just so we can talk. They'd be like, he's not really doing her hair.
Well, I need a place to come visit, so. And also, thank you for coming back, because most of my friends have left New York and Harlem, and I have no more friends here. And that's okay, because New York has run its course for me. So I'm
Do you
just
think you would
happy
leave?
No. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
No.
But I have a house here that allows me to go plant myself somewhere else and come back.
Yeah, you have to do it.
And I love familiarity, so New York is good for that at the very least.
There's that neurodivergent. I love familiarity.
Yes.
Yeah. Mwah.